Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode of SpongeBob Now. Today, I will be talking about wet painters and Krusty Krab training video. First, I'm going to talk about wet painters. Enjoy. SpongeBob and Patrick are tearing the Krusty Krab down and getting themselves hurt because Squidward tricked them into thinking it would attract customers. Mr. Krabs figures this out and sentences the two to do a super, special, secret assignment to paint the inside of his house. But Mr. Krabs warns them that the paint they are using is permanent and threatens that if they get even the smallest drop on anything but the wall, he will cut off their rear ends and place them above his fireplace as punishment. As they go inside the house, SpongeBob sees that Mr. Krabs has so many possessions, and tells Patrick he decides to move them first. Patrick says that there is no need to move the things because they are not getting paid to move them. After placing tarps and carefully opening the cans of paint with a screwdriver, SpongeBob takes out a huge brush, but decides to use a tiny brush. SpongeBob takes it out, then 6 hours later carefully paints a drop onto the wall, which begins dropping. In a panic that it may get onto an item, SpongeBob continuously blows on it to change direction in order to keep it from touching the items it heads for. He eventually blow dries it to make it stop moving, but accidentally blows a giant paint bubble in the process. Patrick blows another giant bubble shortly after, merging the two into an even bigger bubble, then inflates the bubble with a pump, causing it to burst and cover Mr. Krabs' whole house in paint, without getting a drop on anything. Except on Mr. Krabs' first dollar. SpongeBob tries wiping the tiny stain off with his tie, but only ends up spreading the paint over the entire dollar. SpongeBob ends up fearing about what they did to his dollar, meaning that Mr. Krabs will cut their butts off and mount them on the wall just like what he said before they started painting his house. Then they try a couple more things to get it off, including washing it in a washing machine, spraying it, using a saw, beating it up with a club, and smashing it with a computer, but all fail. Then they decide to put another dollar on the wall. Patrick takes out a dollar from his wallet, but uses it to buy a chocolate bar from Mr. Krabs' candy machine instead. At that moment, Mr. Krabs comes home, to find his house's lights turned off. He turns them on and sees that his house is tidy with no sign of bubbles. SpongeBob and Patrick are about to leave, but Mr. Krabs panics, and they think Mr. Krabs found out about the stained dollar. They apologize, but Mr. Krabs is just surprised that they dusted his knickknacks. He panics again, so SpongeBob and Patrick apologize again, but he is surprised about the painted floor molding. He panics once again because he finds out that one of the dolls in his doll-a-rama isn't upright. He says that they are free to go now, but then bumps into a big stack of paintings jutting from the wall where his dollar usually goes and throws them off of the wall one by one as he mentions not remembering any of them at all to find SpongeBob covering his first dollar. Mr. Krabs takes SpongeBob out of the way to find his first dollar stained by paint along with a smiley face and $2 signs drawn on it by crayon, which Patrick mentions he thought Mr. Krabs might buy it. It seems that Mr. Krabs is going to follow through with his threat and chop SpongeBob and Patrick's behinds off, but instead, he licks the dollar and the paint including the crayon marking comes off. The two are confused, and Mr. Krabs reveals the paint comes off with saliva. SpongeBob concludes that Mr. Krabs lied about the paint being permanent so they would be extra careful, but Mr. Krabs said he tricked them just for fun, and laughs at his jest, prompting SpongeBob and Patrick to storm out in disgust. Unfortunately, Mr. Krabs laughs so hard that he accidentally spits all over the place, causing all the paint to melt from the walls. He groans in disappointment as he realizes this, and mutters to himself that he needs to learn how to say it, not spray it. Next, I'm going to talk about Krusty Krab training video. Enjoy! For every new Krusty Krab employee, the ultimate career goal is to create a mouth-watering Krabby Patty by hand. However, before one can even think of picking up a spatula, one must thoroughly learn the ropes of the restaurant game, and the Krusty Krab training video is the perfect tool for fine-tuning the fresh new cog enthusiastically entering the service industry machine. Number 1, from humble beginnings. Eugene H. Krabs, from his childhood to his post-war years, has always had an eye for finance. Despite his long battle with depression since the war, his apt business sense leads to him converting a bankrupt retirement home into the restaurant one may know as the Krusty Krab. Number 2, the Krusty Krab today. With the number of technological breakthroughs involved with today's restaurant, a new worker not yet in the know can quickly become overwhelmed. Thankfully, SpongeBob is ready and willing to guide the way to being a good employee, while the less thoroughly prepared employee, tentatively called Squidward, shall at least provide a clear example of what not to be. Number 3. Training. For a new employee woefully ignorant of what the customer has come to expect from their Krusty Krab dining experience, learning the meaning of POOP. People order our patties will make things quite clear and concise. Number 4. Personal hygiene. The requirements for both cleanliness and personal appearance that an employee is obligated to adhere to are stringent. With diligence and enough soap, however, any employee can learn how to enter each new shift as clean as a whistle. SpongeBob displays all the required steps compared to Squidward attempting none of it. Number 5. Your workstation. Keeping the cooking and service areas clear of detritus is also very important, and while SpongeBob illustrates how to maintain the order of his tools and ingredients, Squidward demonstrates the trouble a poorly kept station leads to. Number 6. Interfacing with your boss. One should never fear to ask the proprietor for a raise because the answer will always be the same. This section also covers interacting with the equally important customers for optimally profitable results, reminding viewers of the eternal Krab saying, "The money is always right." And number 7. Emergency situation. In the event of attempted theft, especially by one Sheldon J. Plankton, this section clearly details the proper protocol for protecting a Krabby Patty in peril. The narrator also reminds Squidward to remember POOP. Once these lessons have been drilled to perfection into the new employee's brain, they shall be ready to reverently receive the secret and sacred method of preparing a Krabby Patty for consumption. We're halfway done with Season 3. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos. Goodbye everyone.